Let me introduce my partner and my friend, my fellow mayor, who has just been doing an unbelievable job on behalf of the president, rebuilding America, and here today to talk to you about this fantastic announcement. Please help me welcome Secretary Pete Buttigieg.
Well, thanks very much, Mayor Landrieu, for your friendship, your leadership, shaping everything from getting clean water to those who even now lack access to it, to affordable broadband internet, shaping our work in transportation. And Mitch is right. Usually we divvy up the places to go because there are so many hundreds and hundreds of projects, but you couldn't keep both of us away from the chance to be here in one of the world's great cities, celebrating an investment in one of the world's great bridges. And we're so thrilled to be part of this today. I want to thank Speaker Emerita Pelosi, without whom we wouldn't be here today, not just in terms of this project, but in terms of what this country is doing. It is a testament to the extraordinary effectiveness that you have demonstrated both as a national leader and something I've admired, balancing that with your very specific commitments and advocacy to this very specific place that has trusted you to represent it for so long. And we just wouldn't be able to do any of this without that leadership. It was said, once a mayor, always a mayor, and I'm grateful to be here with Mayor Breed, a terrific partner on so many transportation improvements that we have underway. And to the House and Senate members who represent this area, so glad that we have such a strong delegation that understands the importance of infrastructure. We have Representatives Huffman, Representative DeSaulnier, and Representative Mullen. Congratulations on your election with us. Several others who were not able to be here. And, of course, Senators Padilla and Feinstein. We are able to announce this good work here and across the country as a direct result of their support for the president's vision for a bipartisan infrastructure law. And now we have moved from just talking about what's going to happen to actually making it happen around the country. Dennis Mulligan and your team, thank you for your stewardship of this vital, vital piece of America. And thank you, Rudy Gonzalez. And through you, we recognize all of the workers who are going to take their skills, I think 750 feet in the air, to get this project done. Your presence reminds us we're not just building infrastructure, we're building livelihoods. And it's one of the reasons we're so passionate about this project. From the very moment that it opened, this bridge has stood as one of the most essential and recognizable in our country. Its location, its proportions, its design make it not just the defining emblem of the Bay Area, but one of the great physical emblems of the United States itself. Even people who've never even been to California could quickly recognize its place as one of the cathedrals of American infrastructure. For this reason alone, it would deserve its attention whenever its enduring role was at stake. But of course, the significance of the Golden Gate Bridge is not just a matter of its vivid place in our American landscape. It's also very much a working piece of infrastructure, and an essential one at that. This bridge plays an indispensable role in the safe movement of countless people and goods across this region. Carries over 100,000 vehicles a day, 37 million a year, including over 500,000 freight trucks, making it a key link for supply chains, including the waterborne freight at the Port of Oakland, which is expected to grow enormously in the coming years. And it's a vital pedestrian and bicycle link. Like all iconic infrastructure, like America itself, its symbolic power is interwoven with its very real concrete capacity to help deliver prosperity to those who count on it. Yet we also know without improvements, its structural elements would become more vulnerable each passing year. So I think it's fitting that in this very first round of our bridge investment program, which is one of the flagship programs of President Biden's historic 5-year infrastructure package, we're looking after this vital asset. That's why we're so glad to be here, and that's why the Biden-Harris administration is so proud to award $400 million to retrofit the Golden Gate Bridge to make it safer and more resilient for the future. And I know we're here as California is going through a lot. The violence that we were all shocked to see over the weekend, and as California is recovering from the impact of these historic storms of a kind that we are sure to see more of in this era of climate change. And as a down payment on the President's commitment to help rebuild after the storms, we just announced that we are immediately making available $10.2 million in emergency transportation funds to repair damaged roads, and we're looking at more where that came from. I'm glad my colleague Shaylin Bhatt, our highway administrator, is going to be here on the ground looking at the damage and making sure that we can be there for you. And while the seismic threat to this vital bridge is distinct from the climate threats that we're facing in so many places and forms, the response, of course, has this in common: a need to focus on resilience. Whether it's a road threatened by mudslides, a port threatened by sea level rise, or a major American bridge threatened by earthquakes, we are acting to ensure that it's more resilient in the face of all that will come our way in this century. And the story of this particular project also reflects on the resilience of the people who have believed in it for years. A little over 3 decades ago, this bridge stood strong through that devastating Loma Prieta earthquake. But the analysis afterward was clear. If a similar earthquake were to originate nearer to where we are standing, it could cause serious damage or even destroy the Golden Gate Bridge. And it is difficult to overstate the impact that would follow if this bridge were not available. Traffic for millions would increase not by minutes but by hours in each direction. Supply chains would be rocked, pushing up goods prices for families across the country. Countless businesses, jobs, activities, and even relationships would become unrealistic to sustain and be permanently lost. Soon after that earthquake, leaders in the Bay Area decided that the Golden Gate Bridge had to be strengthened to withstand the seismic threats of the future. And leaders have been working to fully deliver on that promise ever since. It took the sustained advocacy of so many people here, and again, the unparalleled effectiveness of Speaker Pelosi and the leadership of President Biden to pass the historic infrastructure law that gave us this funding to finally see this move forward. There is only one Golden Gate Bridge, and we are going to protect it. And while we're at it, creating years and years of new, good union jobs for iron workers, sheet metal workers, electrical workers, laborers, operating engineers, so more represented here today. They're going to install 40 energy dissipation devices, strengthen the bracing and the floor beams, retrofit the towers, and more. And I want to again compliment everybody involved in successfully applying to this very competitive program. The large bridge section of this program got 40 applications, seeking $11 billion in funding. 4 of them could be funded this year, including this one. I just want to end by putting this in context. This is another great example of what President Biden's vision for building a better America looks like in practice as part of a strategy to rebuild our economy from the bottom up and the middle out. And the strategy is working. Unemployment is the lowest it has been in decades. Wages are up. Inflation is down compared to where it was just a few months ago. Seniors on Medicare are paying $35 a month or less for insulin starting this year. And as a child of the industrial Midwest, I am moved to see manufacturing roaring back in this country with 750,000 new manufacturing jobs created since this administration took office. We're building electric vehicles and clean steel and advanced microchips, and those goods will now move along stronger American supply chains on more resilient roads and bridges like the renewed Golden Gate. We are literally building the future of this country together, and we're just getting started. So I'm so glad that we can be here to mark this important milestone together. I'm looking forward to all that is ahead for the Bay Area and across the country. And now it is my great honor and distinct pleasure to turn it over to somebody who, again, is responsible in so many ways for so many of the achievements I just listed. Members of my family have health care because of her leadership. My hometown has a future, in no small part, because of her leadership. She is one of the most consequential Americans of our young century, and it's a distinct pleasure to turn it over to Speaker Emerita Nancy Pelosi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Secretary, for your kind words and your $400 million.